Hello friends, this is Shelley from Koala Knits and Knacks. Thank you so much for joining me. I am going to show you how to use the ZestWrench adapter. Now I do have another video on it in circular mode, but recently I was asked under the comments of another video if I would make one showing panel mode. So I'm going to actually show both in this tutorial and show you several different ways to do the panel mode. So when we get to that section, be sure and watch it all and pick which way you like best. All right, so thanks again for joining me. I hope that you find this very informative. Please check the description box below where I'll have links to the ZestWrench, not only for this size of machine, but for the 22 needle as well. So thanks again for joining me. I hope you enjoy the video. All right, friends, so I have my 46 needle machine set up, and here is my ZestWrench. I'm going to go ahead and plug it in. There we go. And it's just giving me the particulars there at the beginning. But you're going to notice that there are the buttons up here and the reset, RST is reset button there. And I want to show you having this off the machine before I hook it up, because the angle of the camera would be really weird, really hard to get if I don't show you here first. All right, so as I said at the beginning of the tutorial, one of the members of my channel asked if I would do a tutorial on flat panels. On here, it's called, what's it called? It's called plain knitting. On our machine, we refer to it as panel knitting. All right, and so I'm going to take the opportunity to do the circular as well. So let's go over these buttons first. This first button at the top here is speed. Now you look up there, the green is the low speed. And when you click it again, you get high speed. Click it again, you get low. So there's only 2 speeds, which is great on this particular adapter. Then PC, that's plain and circular, or panel and circular. When you, like we have them in plain here, and you see it's lit up in red. Oops. And this little toggle, when you have it in plain, what is it doing? It just will skip to this right away, actually. So let's just, you'll see that the plain knitting is in the red there. We have it on low speed. I can put it on high if I want it. But I'm going to just now switch it to circular. And you'll see circular is down there, and the toggle went to circular, and now it's circular. Circular is highlighted with the white around and the red letters. Plain is white letters and the red behind. And you see that there as well. So it's just with this button. Plain knitting and circular knitting. There we go. When we are in circular knitting, we use, so I have it in circular knitting. If it was hooked up to my machine, this is the button that I press. First you hit reset to get it to 0, and then that's the button that you press, and it's going to just continue knitting in circular mode. If you change the speed, and see the counter will pick that up as it goes around. It goes by how many rounds this rotates, so that's why it will count as it's off the machine, because the ZestWrench, the adapter, knows how many turns that is making, and that's what changes the row count. And so then we're going to put it on high. You can't really tell the difference with it off the machine, but you can tell when it's on the machine. Let's go again to low and high. See, so there is a bit of a difference, and we're going to press this button right here to shut it off whenever you want to stop. So if you know that you're getting to the end of your row, you want to do a color change, you stop before you get to the end of the row, and then you use your hand crank to crank it to change your color, and I'll show you all that. All right, let's see what we do for plain knitting or panel mode. I'm going to switch that to plain. Watch what this does. This button no longer works because that is for circular knitting. This one on the side here is for plain knitting, for panel knitting. So it's one way, and when it gets to the end, which it's not going to do here because it's not connected to these black, there's no, the machine, when my, let me just stop this here. When my Addi is in plain mode, then I have to pay particular attention and watch when the end of the row is coming. And then you switch it by moving your finger. Now, if I'm coming up to the end, I'm going to switch it that way and it's going to go the other direction. So I'm working it around and I see I'm coming to the end. The machine will stop because you have it in panel mode, and then you just switch your finger the other direction. So I'm going to just lightly push it up one little notch and push it down one little notch. You can go more than one because that doesn't change the speed. The speed is changed here. So you can do panel knitting in low speed, or you can do panel knitting in high speed. Why you would, I don't know. I never would. Some of you might, but I will always do panel in low speed. All right, so this one is for circular and off and on for the panel, and this one is for panel. And you can see the plus and the minus there. So you're going one direction, then take it down to that to go the other direction. I'm going to go ahead. I'm going to hook this up to my machine. I've already taken the handle off, so it's going to be easy. I'm just going to pop this on. And you'll have to watch that other video of mine to see how to do this if you're not sure. I'm going to just unplug it just because I don't want to be playing around in there with the electricity on. And I'm going to screw that handle on. I'll meet you right back when I'm done. All right, I have my handle screwed on tightly. Go to my techniques playlist and look for the other ZestWrench video, and I'll show you how you hook it up. And I'm going to plug that in. If your machine is on circular mode, then you're going to knit in circular on here. If you want to knit in plain on your ZestWrench, then you have to flick that up to panel mode. I'm going to just show you again how to do circular mode and how to change colors. And from there, I'll show you how to knit in panel mode. All right, so I'm going to make sure that my toggle on my Addi machine is down. For circular knitting, I'm going to go over to my ZestWrench. I'm going to make sure that that middle button on the top row is toggled to circular knitting. I'm going to make sure that I have it on low. I'm going to grab my yarn, low speed that is, and I find that often when I am knitting without a ZestWrench, I like, if I have my yarn in a cake, I like to pull from the outside. I don't, it's just a habit and I like to do it that way. When I'm using the ZestWrench, I like to pull from the inside because then it keeps, but make sure you put it into a cake so that you're not having any struggle with your needles. Then when it's coming up, my ball isn't fiddling and falling around. Sometimes if you have an outside pull, your yarn tail as it winds around will get caught on something and it can move your cake, and I just don't want that. So I have a center pull when it comes to when I'm using my ZestWrench. All right, so now what you're going to do is you're going to look for your last white and your first black needle like we do in our regular knitting without it. And I always take a black permanent marker and mark that divider between the last white and the first black. We're going to cast on. I'm going to do the drawstring cast on, going in front of that first black, and you're using your hand to turn this handle, and we're going to go behind and in front and behind, in front and behind. Yes, it's a little, more difficult to move this handle than it is to move it when you have this other handle on there. So you can leave your other handle on, do your cast on, then add your ZestWrench. You can do it that way if you like, but I don't find it too difficult to do it this way. I've heard people say that it's too hard and they don't like turning this handle, but I think you get used to it. And it's going behind that last white into our yarn feeder it goes. You can set your row counter on here if you like, but it's going to count it on your ZestWrench as well. For me, I'm going to set this to 0 because I trust this counter and my patterns are based on the counter that I got here. They should stay the same. I actually never really compared them, so we're going to compare them this time because I always just watch here. So I have it on low speed. I have it on circular knitting. I had it on plain. I don't know how that happened. I told you to toggle it to circular, but I guess I didn't. It's on low speed. I'm going to reset my counter. I'm going to see if these are still accurate. There we go. I need to tighten this screw a little bit. Didn't get it quite tight enough. There we go. So I have low speed, reset my counter to 0. I have it on circular knitting. My toggle on my Addi is down, so that's on circular knitting. And I'm going to press this button in the corner, which I told you you press when you're doing circular knitting. Here we go. Be brave. I'm holding my yarn between my 2 fingers. Let me just shut this off. Just like this, so that I can feel for tension coming out of the ball, or knots or anything that might be causing that might cause the ZestWrench to fight with my machine. I don't want that, so I like to have hand control. Go ahead and turn it on. I have clicked on number 2. My machine counts the row that I'm on. My ZestWrench counts the one that you have finished. So this says 3, this says 2. So now this says 4. I'm working on row 4, but my ZestWrench still says 3. It tells me when I'm finished. So now that's row 4. Which is why I like to use this, because my eyes and my visual likes to see the row that we are actually working on, not to have it change when we finish the row. I think you know what I mean. So I continue to watch that. And there we go. This is how you knit in circular. I'm going to change the speed. And you can do that while it's running, and there you go. Only use high speed if you know that the yarn you're working with, that the machine loves it. If it just likes the yarn, don't use high speed. Okay, you don't want tuck stitches and skip stitches and all, you know, the struggles that come with knitting too fast with terrible yarn. But if you're using yarn that you know your machine likes, then go ahead. Now let's just say that I want to change colors. I'm watching for that black divider to come around. When it gets close, see how close it is? I just hit that button and shut it off. I'm going to rotate with my hand. I'm going to go ahead. I don't want to cut this yarn because I don't want to waste it. So I'm going to just pretend I cut it. And I'm going to pop that into the center just to keep it out of the way, because I don't want to cut it. I'm going to wind it up again later. And I'm going to take my color change. I'm going to pop it in there. All right. Now you can even do a jogless join when you're knitting in the round with a ZestWrench. I'm going to take that and I'm going to bring it around to the other side. This isn't a jogless join video, but that's how you do it. And then you tie it off later. You can look under my techniques playlist to find out how to do a jogless join. Once you learn how to do a jogless join on your machine, you'll never go back to just sticking it in the middle like this. But for this purpose, I'm going to do that. And then you're going to click your switch, but I'm going to put my speed back to low to start off my row. And stop, it says. Sometimes it'll give you a little bit of a warning. But that's only because I switched it and it needed time to recalculate itself there. And that's how you change colors. Just like that. Now I can switch my speed. And there you go. That's knitting in the round, circular knitting. Now I'm going to remove all of this and I'm going to show you how to knit with panel mode, or plain mode as the ZestWrench would call it. All right, I'm going to go ahead and remove this. All right, so we are ready to begin panel mode. I switched out my yarn just to go with one that I know is perfect for my machine, and that's Heartland yarn. The other one was Loops and Threads, and it was good too, but this one is even better, so I'm going to use that for the panel mode. And I switched out my machine because this is my first Addi that I ever got. It's about 3 years old, maybe a little bit longer, 3.5 years old. Yeah, it's about 3.5 years old. And that first half of this video, I used my other Addi, my newer one that I used for all my recent videos in the last year. But this one, when I was first starting out, I didn't pay too much attention as I should have, to the yarn that I used. And you'll see in some of my earlier videos I used Craft Smart, which is now no longer available, but I used some yarns that weren't as good for my Addi as I should have because I was green. I just, you know, didn't know. I didn't know as much as I know now. And I broke some of the tines on the gold ring that are on the inside of this. And it's not just from that, it's from when you have even if you're using good yarn and your tension is too tight and your handle has to struggle, like if you get a knot and you didn't realize it and you're fighting with your handle, you will break those little tines that are on the gold ring on the inside of this machine. And so anyways, rambling on here, but after I finished this last section with you, I put my other machine away, I pulled this one out, and I took it apart, and I made a video showing you how to take it apart and put it back together. It's the easiest video I know that you will find on YouTube because I searched before, like even it's easier to follow than the one I did 3 years ago because now I know more. And so it's going to be the video you want to use to take your machine apart, clean it, put it back together, because I show you so clearly and it's like you don't have to be scared no more. So I decided before I show you the flat panels, I am going to take this machine apart and I'm going to fix those tines because I am like what my mother was. She could fix anything. I'm not like her. I can fix some things, but I'm determined to try. So I thought this thing has been sitting up in the closet. I'm going to use it for my ZestWrench, but even when I hooked up my ZestWrench before I fixed it, it would skip. So when it got to those places where there were a break in the tine, I call them tines, those little lines that are all along the gold ring, when it got to that part, it would skip, and it would it would make a noise because it couldn't rotate, it couldn't move in the direction it needed to move. It eventually got there, but it would skip first and do a funny noise and then go. And I thought, I have an idea. And so I actually fixed it. You are not going to believe it. You're going to look at, some of you are going to watch that video and you're going to say, oh, you're going to shake your head and you're going to say, I wouldn't do that. Please don't. But I did, and it works. I'm going to show you. I'm going to flip this into circular before we continue on. And I'm going to let this thing go once I reset it. There we go. It takes a second to switch from one to the next. It's not skipping in any direction because of what I did, but it's a secret. You have to go watch the other video that I posted just before this one. And you might want to do it to your machine too. I don't know how long it's going to last, but if it lasts a while and I have to redo it, I will, until I don't have to do it anymore and I need to buy a gold ring. But I'm telling you, friends, I'm so thrilled. So now that was just a little side note about a video that I took a break from this to do, and it's now up. And you go look for it. Now we're going to continue this segment of how to knit a flat panel on your knitting machine. Thanks for joining me. All right, so if you stuck with me through that and you're still here with me, yay. I went and got myself a cup of coffee. You should do the same thing because we're doing flat panels. You're gonna need it. I'm gonna show you several different ways. I'm gonna start out showing you the way they teach us, the way the ZestWrench tells you to do it, and then I'm gonna show you a better way. Now that sounds very arrogant, but it is a better way. And so the people who make the ZestWrench make motors. They don't use machines. I'm sure of it. So anyways, we're going to go ahead and we're going to rotate our barrel. It's in circular motion, our Addi, until our needles are on the right side of our yarn feeder, because then we'll be ready to knit in that direction with our flat panel. I'm going to show you how to do a flat panel over all the needles. Then I'm going to show you how to do a flat panel over a designated amount of needles where your counter on your Addi is going to count every row. Stick with me. You're not going to want to miss that, okay? Because that's how you're going to probably do it all the time. So we're going to put our ZestWrench onto plain knitting. Then we're going to make sure the speed is on low. We're going to flip our toggle up on our Addi to plain knitting, panel knitting. And we're going to then hit the RST, the reset button here. That resets the counter. And I think it resets the, I don't know what it does. So I just redo it because that's what they say to do. I think it just resets the counter. We're going to set our row counter to 0 here. But being that we're in panel mode, it's only going to count every second row. But now I can rotate this back and my first needle will come up. Now, ZestWrench tells you to start casting on this first needle. So then you're casting on, all the way around to this last white one, but you need 3 turning needles. See, this is where they don't get it. You need 3 turning needles. And so then you continue on and you continue on, and this can't knit because it can't go past it. So it ends up dropping anyways, and these 3 needles don't knit. They seriously don't. You can cast on if you want, but it'll drop off. So there's no point. So that's one change that I make. Go behind the first white one, then you cast on. And again, we're going to let it slip through our fingers. Don't put any extra tension on it. Make sure your coffee cup doesn't fly off the table. And then we're going to knit or cast onto all the needles. I might choose a pretty color. This is Heartland yarn. I love Heartland yarn. That's the last white needle. I'm going to go under the divider into the yarn feeder, and these 3 needles are my turning needles. I need a coffee because this is going to be no, it's not that bad. See, if I tell you it's bad, then once it's easy for you, you'll be happy with yourself. But I am going to knit the first 2 needles by hand. The first, like on the first few rows, and then I'll show you why I do it after that. But if I was to just turn this on now, it's not, well, I can show you if you like. What you do, let's just show you. It's under the divider. What you want to do, and watch, it's going to work this time. When you're going, for your barrel's turning from right to left, this way, you have to pull that switch down. You have to you have to turn it down just a little bit. When you're going the other way, what we normally feel is the right way to circular knit, you're going to push that toggle up. It's not really a toggle, it's that dial that I showed you before. So now I'm going to go down. I'm going to put a little bit of pressure on my yarn at the back. It took it. Well, it's proving me wrong, but it doesn't always. And when I get close to the end, I'm stopping it here because I want to show you what the ZestWrench video shows you. It shows you that it automatically stops, and then you switch your toggle to, or you take your little dial and you go the other direction. And then when it's at the end of the row, it just nicely stops. It does not do that. It doesn't do it on this machine. It doesn't do it on my other Addi. This is what happens, and I'm not going to let you hear this too often because I don't want to wreck my beautiful little insides that I just fixed, but I'm gonna just let it continue here, knowing that it's supposed to stop. Watch it actually stop. See, it won't stop. That is your handle turning and turning, turning against those inside tines. I don't know what you call them, but the little tines, the little grooves that connect to make this thing turn, and they will break. So then let's just go the other direction, and if this needle catches without me helping it, I'll be shocked. But we're going to go the other direction, and it did. So, you know, maybe practice makes perfect. But I'm not going to stop it when I get to the end. I'm going to let it see if it stops on its own. It does not. Okay, so that's, I'm taking it for the team because that hurts my heart to hear that, because it wrecks your machine. This once or twice it won't, but. And this is my old machine anyways, but that's what happens. It's supposed to stop, and then you're supposed to just change the dial. So what I'm going to do going forward is I'm going to help the first 2 needles just like that, and then I'm going the other way, so I'm going to turn my dial down. And then that button that you use for circular mode, it's right under the dial. Once I get close to the end, I stop, and then I hand knit the last couple of needles till it goes down under that divider after the last needle picks it up. Then I can go back, and I let that first needle pick it up, and I'm going to Why isn't it going? Did I hit something with my finger? Yes, I did. I hit it into I hit the wrong button because I wasn't looking. So let's put it back on plain knitting. It was in circular knitting. And so I'm going to now go. Be careful that your hand doesn't slip and hit the wrong button when you're shutting it off. I can get to the second last needle before I shut it off, because as soon as you hit that button, it automatically shuts off. So then I'm going to finish that last row, that last needle. I'm going to get it underneath the first needle and start the second needle. And I'm going this direction now. So I'm going to turn my dial down and I'm going to knit till I'm almost at the end. Don't put any tight tension on your yarn tail because it will scream at you then. See, I got this one. And I'm going to finish here. And I'm going to show you that you can actually have confidence going in high speed when you do it this way, as long as you make sure you stop it on time. So I'm going to change my speed to high, and I'm going to turn my dial up with my finger on the stop button. Stop. And I'm going to manually knit that last one and then the first two. And then I'm going to switch directions. I could really get used to this. Like seriously, I haven't made any flat panel projects on my channel using the ZestWrench, but I can see that once I get into doing that again, doing flat panel work again, I will definitely use this. Now, you heard that handle scratch. That's because I need to hold it here. I was holding it here. This is not normal for me. I always hold it between my fingers like that. Then I get a light tension, but nothing that's tight, because in flat panels you can't have. You want to go a little bit tighter on the first two just to have a nice edge, but then you want to make sure that you don't put much tension on it at all. So I'm going to finish these two. I'm going to go back. Once it's under that needle, I'm going to give it a little bit of a tight snug, just a little bit, so I have a nice end. Then I'm going to go back, and I'm going to, this is fast speed, you guys. I didn't think I'd ever do that, but here it is. And shut it off. Let's do one more row with you. And let's see here, going back. I wasn't paying attention to my counter either, but I'm going in that direction, so I'm going to go this way. And stop. And there you go. Now, you guys, the beautiful thing about this is both the end black needles trip the counter. So every row is counting. It's not like doing flat panel without the ZestWrench. For some reason, it doesn't count both ways. It only counts every second row. Or it counts every second row, unless you do what I'm going to show you next. Because what happens if you don't want to use 43 needles? You just want to panel, say, over 25 needles. How are you going to do it and yet still count both rows, both directions? I'm going to show you. Stick with me, friends. We are going to first flip that down into circular knitting. I'm going to take this out. So that's how you do flat panel over 43 needles. Fun, 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 fun. And now I'm going to, it's switched into circular. I'm going to switch this one into circular, just for easy removal. And then this is out. Second time, make sure this is closed or you'll break a needle or the gate. And then it's going to release. Except for there's always one that likes to stick. There we go. As soon as that needle pops up, I can take that down. But there we go. We've made a beautiful flat panel. We didn't get one tucked stitch or one drop stitch. We did a beautiful job. Now I'm going to unwind this and I'm going to show you how I would do it over less than 43 needles. So, and counting every row. You're going to want to watch it, but let me finish rewinding, taking this apart, and then I'll be right back with you. All right, so when I do a flat panel, without the zest wrench, I always make my middle black needle my middle needle count. So if we're going to do over 25 needles, I'm going to do 12 on this side of the black needle, 12 on that side of the black needle, and this is the middle one, that would be 25. That way when I do my flat, and I do it in circular mode, that's when I'm not using my zest wrench, because then every row counts. Okay, so that's my practice with the handle on the machine, and leave it in circular and your row will count both directions. Okay, I'm going to have that happen here too. So we're going to say 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Let's say we want to do a flat panel over 25 needles. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. This middle needle is 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 22, 23, 24, 25, 25. There we go. And then into the yarn feeder it goes. Just like that. Okay, so essentially this is a flat panel over 25 needles. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put my zest wrench into panel mode, because otherwise in circular mode it only goes one way. You can't go the other way like you can with the handle, with your regular handle. So we have to have our zest wrench in circular or in flat panel mode. So I'm going to change that to plain knitting. That's flat panel. I'm going to make sure that the speed is on low. Hit that reset for the counter, but it doesn't matter because I'm not paying attention to that counter. I'm going to pay attention to this counter. All right. So now we're going to do the same thing that we have been doing, except for instead of having our Addi in panel mode, because then we won't get past the black needles, we're going to leave it in circular mode. So your zest wrench is in panel mode, plain mode. Your Addi is in circular mode, and watch the magic happen. So we are going to knit the first 2 like we have done. Flip your switch down. I'm going to shut it off. Knit back. Oops. Just like that. And flip the switch up. You only have, the thing is you have to watch where your last needle is. So you might want to mark the divider that's on the left of that needle, just so you know where to stop. And you can, or mark it however you want on both sides, put a little sticky on there, or do whatever you need to do. I can see it, but you can see it, but you almost can miss it too. So there's the last one. And then I'm going to go back and see my counter is counting and going this other direction. So I'm going to turn my little dial down and I'm going to stop. And then we're going to go back the other way. Oop, I split my yarn. It's pulling a little too tight. Go back the other way. And then up. So when we're knitting with the handle, I might have said it opposite at the beginning of the video. When we're knitting with the handle and turning like this, our barrel is going from left to right. I might have said it the opposite with this little dial, but you'll figure it out. So when I'm going back the other way, so from right to left, I'm going to turn that little dial down. Okay, till I get to the end and I see it. I'm going to finish that off manually, go back the other way. This is how the normal direction that we're used to. When we crank our handle, it goes this way, so I'm going to turn my dial up. I think I said it the opposite before, and if I did, my sincere apologies. And there we go. That's how you knit a flat panel over a designated number of needles that's not the full needle bed. Make sure that yarn tail goes underneath the divider. Helps to ensure a good first stitch. And there we go. And every time it passes the black needles going in both directions. It trips your counter and counts all rows. All right, friends, so there you have it. How fun is this? I hope you've enjoyed this tutorial. Please give it a thumbs up and subscribe if you haven't done so already. And yeah, let me know in the comments if this tutorial was beneficial to you. I'd love to know. All right, thanks again for joining me. I hope you've had a learning experience with me here, and I look forward to seeing you in the next tutorial. Have a blessed day, guys.